The noise of the courtyard faded behind steel doors. Silence replaced it. Not the kind filled with tension, the kind filled with intent. Rakuto stood alone in the room, wrists still down, shoulders steady despite everything his body had been through. The faint ache in his restored arm lingered, the skin still in a tone where black had once consumed it. Across from him stood Captain Rick Riley. No audience, no witnesses, no distractions, just truth or something close to it. Rick didn't pace, didn't circle. He stood still, watching. Then, "That mark on your face," he said. Rakuto's eyes shifted slightly. Not fear, not surprise, just attention. "It belongs to someone I've been hunting," Rick continued. "The same mark worn by the one who killed my last squad." The words landed heavy. Rakuto did so immediately. His mind flickered. Train heist, fragments of memory, the moment that mark appeared with no explanation. "I know you're not him," Rick added. That part mattered. Rakuto exhaled slowly. "Then why am I here?" Rick's gaze didn't change. "Because you're connected. Simple, direct, unavoidable." A pause settled between them before Rick spoke again. "I'm also looking for someone else." Rakuto's eyes narrowed slightly. "Your brother." That broke through. "Reiji?" Rick nodded once. "He disappeared months ago." Rakuto stared at him, something shifting behind the usual guarded expression. "You're looking for him?" There was something almost disbelieving in the question, like that idea didn't exist until now. Rick didn't soften. "I am." A beat. Then, "Why?" The question came quieter this time, more real. Rick answered without hesitation. "Execution." Silence. Not tension. Not confusion. Something colder. Rakuto's jaw tightened slightly. Rick continued. "He possesses something I consider uncontrollable. No elaboration, no detail, just a label. And somehow that made it worse." Rakuto's thoughts flickered again, memories of Reiji, fragments of who he was, who he had been, and whatever he might have become. Then Rick stepped forward. Just once. Closing the space between them slightly. "I'll keep this simple," he said. "Two options. You help me find him." A pause. "Or you don't." That was it. No threats, no pressure, no illusion of force. But Rakuto understood immediately. That didn't make it a free choice, because nothing about this was simple. Not the mark, not Reiji, not the fact that Rick already saw value in him. "You're a variable," Rick added, "one you don't fully understand yet." Rakuto's eyes lifted slightly. "But I do." Another pause. Then, "You could be useful." Rakuto let out a quiet breath through his nose. "And if I say no," Rick didn't hesitate, "then you'll still be useful." That answered more than anything else. Rakuto gave a faint, almost tired smirk. "So it's not really a choice." Rick's expression didn't change. "It's a direction." Silence stretched again, thick, unspoken. Rakuto knew whatever answer he gave wouldn't end anything. It would only start something else. He opened his mouth, but before the words could form, Rick spoke again, tone shifting slightly. "You're also the only one here who should understand the relevance of that mark," he said. Rakuto stilled. Rick continued, calm as ever. "To my knowledge, I'm the only one here who has seen it on someone else." A pause. "General Kethar Morn is the only other man who has traveled beyond the gate." Rakuto's eyes narrowed slightly. Rick's gaze didn't waver. "Whether he's seen it or not, I don't know." The implication settled in quietly. That mark wasn't something common, wasn't something understood, and more importantly, wasn't something meant to be seen lightly. "You don't necessarily have to hide it," Rick said. Another pause. "But be careful who sees it." That landed heavier than any command, because it wasn't control, it was warning. Then, Rick turned slightly, shifting the moment again. "Your assignment during the Gauntlet," he said. Rakuto blinked once. "My what?" Rick gestured faintly toward the door. "You'll be working." A beat. Rakuto stared at him. "Working," Rick nodded once. "Cleaning, carrying, maintenance." Another pause. "Whatever I decide needs to be done." Rakuto blinked again. "You're serious." "Very." A quiet beat passed. Then Rakuto let out a small breath through his nose, almost laughing under it. "I survive all that just to become maintenance." Rick didn't react. "You survive all that because you're still useful," he said flatly. Another pause. "Consider this part of your evaluation." Rakuto shook his head slightly, more tired than annoyed. "Yeah, got it." Rick moved toward the door. "And try not to die again," he added. Rakuto huffed quietly. "I'll do my best." The door opened, and the moment ended. Back in the courtyard, the gauntlet had already begun. Jale stood across from Lin. The space between them was clear, carved out by expectation and pressure. No team, no backup, no room to hide, just them. "Begin." The signal hit, and Lin moved first. Fast, sharp, No wasted motion. He closed the distance instantly, striking with precision meant to overwhelm early. Jale barely blocked the first hit, the impact sending a jolt through his already injured side. He stepped back, just enough, breathing tightening for a split second. Lin saw it. Of course he did. That's your problem, Lin said, pressing forward. You came in damaged. Another strike, faster. Jale shifted, barely avoiding it this time, boots scraping against stone as he reset his stance. Yeah, he admitted quietly. Then he looked up. But I'm still here, Lin smirked. Not for long. He pushed harder, faster combinations, tighter angles, forcing Jale to react instead of think. For a moment, it worked. Jale gave ground. His breathing grew heavier, his movements slightly slower. The injury mattered. It was real. But then he adjusted. Not perfectly, not cleanly, but enough. Enough. He stopped trying to match Lin's speed, started reading him instead. One step, one shift, one prediction at a time. Lin lunged again, and this time, Jale moved first. He slipped the strike, turned the angle, and drove a counter straight through Lin's guard. Not clean, but solid. Lin staggered half a step back, more surprised than hurt. Okay, he muttered. Now it was a fight. They clashed again, back and forth. Momentum shifting with every exchange. Lin still had the edge in speed. Jale had something else. Grit. The kind that didn't care if he was injured, didn't care if he was at a disadvantage. He just kept going. Every hit taken, returned. Every opening, used. The fight stretched longer than expected, closer than expected, until finally, Lin overcommitted. Just slightly. Just enough. Jale saw it, stepped in, and ended it. The final strike landed clean. Lin dropped to one knee, breath knocked from him, balance gone. Silence followed. Then, match complete. Jale stood there, chest rising and falling, side aching, body barely holding, but still standing. He let out a slow breath. Told you, he muttered quietly. Across the courtyard, reactions spread. Some impressed, some surprised, some recalculating everything they thought they knew, because Jale was stronger than he looked. And that mattered now, more than ever. The gauntlet continued.
I start from here, I catch up with you. I don't do back on myself anymore. I start from here, I catch up with you.